Giggles podcast. We're back with another episode. In today's episode, we're kicking it straight off. We are talking about online competitions. So that could be for like someone has recently done the DownUnderCrossFit Championships, the online qualifiers for that. It could be the CrossFit Open. It could be the quarterfinals. It could be... So a lot of the competitions nowadays have some form of online element to them, whether that's the qualifier or the event sometimes. So we thought it'd be a cool time for us to dive into that a little bit. So we're going to kickstart off, same as pretty much what we always do. We're going to take a step back and we're going to look at like the week leading into the comp itself, and then how we approach those. So for those who don't know, the Down Under CrossFit Championships had a online qualifier step 1 for the individuals and teams, the elite divisions. And correct me if I'm wrong, they were released on the Monday?
Yep, 5 a.m. Eastern
5
time.
a.m. Monday, the workouts were dropped, and they had until 8 p.m. Friday to complete the 4 workouts and submit their scores and videos and whatnot. And then the leaderboard went live on Friday at 8 p.m. And then we all figured out who landed where. So that was like the structure of the online portion for Down Under CrossFit Championships. And then once the leaderboard, so they're going through the process at the moment of finalising all the scores, checking all the legitimacy of people's scores. And then on the 1st and 2nd of December, I believe it is. It's the first weekend of December.
Yep,
I could have had the dates wrong.
3rd of December.
They are live in Wollongong, I believe.
Yep.
Wollongong, the old, where they used to do regionals back in the day, throwing it back. So, Down Under CrossFit Championships in person, if you got time, go have a look. It'll be wicked. Top 18 athletes in the area.
They've just made it top 20 now, and then they're going to invite a few more, I reckon. That's what they're going to do.
Because looking at the leaderboard, that is a stacked field, men and women. So I'm not sure how that works, whether the guys had a separate list for the teams or whether they just use the names from the elite men on teams.
Yep, so if you...
Or whether you could just register a team without being on the elite individuals list.
Yeah, so everyone did the same workouts, but you could register for either one or you could register for both.
Right.
Which a lot of athletes did last year, so I'm assuming a decent amount of athletes did it this year.
Yeah.
And so you're all doing the same workouts, you just submit your scores into a different division, and then teams get accumulated, and individuals obviously just yourselves, but and then they make their choice once the invites go out.
Yeah, nice. So where did you finish on that one?
I qualified, and that's
what
we need to
place
talk about.
What place is that one?
Nothing's confirmed yet, KPow.
Oh, a little bit of celebration would go astray, mate. Come on.
I did better than I thought, which I'm pretty stoked about, considering I got destroyed at Frantic earlier this year.
Bit of jet lag, you know.
I don't care, man. I got my ass handed to me. So I had no confidence going into this qualifier.
This was your redemption, was it?
This was me trying to prove to myself that I actually can compete when I train.
That you're not
and
washed
don't have
up.
an off season yet.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. And we're going to use Down Under, so Jono's week as an example here, but this is applicable to other sort of competitions like I was talking about before, like the Open, the quarterfinals, and other online qualifiers. So don't just take what we're talking about directly with Down Under. This is applicable to other online comps as well. So leading into the week, so this is a bit weird. Normally it'd be you get the workouts released on a Friday, you have the weekend to do them. So a little bit of a different structure with this one being that you got the workouts released on Monday and had Friday to complete them. How did your week leading into this look?
So yeah, if we start from the week beforehand, it was like business as usual, training, following the program, doing what I need to. I would like to say, especially after Frantic, I dialed a lot of stuff in, and so I didn't have to change anything. However, come Saturday...
So that was like you dialed stuff in within your training?
Training, nutrition, sleep, recovery, all of that stuff, which we've done podcasts on before. Yeah, so be more specific. So like my training, I know... I guess I'm trying to still increase that more, but I've really got like what I'm eating day to day, meal to meal kind of thing, snacks, supplements, everything, ice baths, hot and cold showers, stretching, all that stuff is dialed in already. So that didn't have to change. But the weekend, usually on a Saturday, I'll wake up before coaching. I'll head into the gym, I'll get my zone 2 stuff done beforehand, and then I'll coach, and then I'll do like all my CrossFit stuff afterwards. However, I slept in, so that gives me like another hour and a half of sleep. Did the coaching, and then did like 1 to 2 pieces after that, just because I wanted to prioritize my recovery.
Yeah.
However, this is not... Back in the day, I wouldn't do this. The only reason I did it this way, and when we talk about the week of the qualifiers, I did it this way, is because this sounds bad, but I had almost zero confidence that unless I gave every little ounce of it and took no excuses from it, I wouldn't qualify. So, for example, if I trained through the week, or if I didn't like taper even for a day and a half out from it, that was to me like, no, I'm not giving myself the best opportunity.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I would have been like, I'll just train through it. And look what that got me.
So for like my experience, I typically, depending on the size of the comp, and so what I mean by that is like how big of a comp it is that you're trying to qualify for. So if you're trying to qualify for chasing better, it's not quite as big a goal, because the guys that you're competing against, the other guys, there's not as big a list of people, and the guys that are in there aren't quite as to the same caliber as when you're going to try and qualify for touring or qualify for Down Under. So the size of the comp is extremely relevant on how much of a deload I'll take, and also how much effort I'm putting towards the comp as well. So if it's a big comp, I'll typically deload anywhere from like 8 to 10 days out. So for those of you who don't know, if you do a massive leg session, massive squatting day, it can take you up to 2 weeks to fully recover from that session. So just throwing those sorts of numbers out there, if you don't give your body a chance to recover, then you're not doing exactly what Jono said before. You're not giving yourself the best opportunity to perform at your best. So depending on the size of the comp, I'll either deload from like an 8 to 10 day stage leading into it. And all that is pretty much like a reduction in volume, intensity, and load as well. So still training, but it's just a reduction in everything. And the priority then becomes what I need to recover more than I need to train. Because you're not going to get any stronger in the last 10 days leading into a comp. And you're not going to get any fitter. You just want to maintain it all and recover better.
However, you can get injured.
Yeah, don't change any ropes.
I just mean as well, people tend to, and it's just typical of the human race, is procrastination, and then they start to, oh man, the comp's coming up, I haven't done many handstand push-ups lately, I'm going to do heaps, and then they start doing it, and they're like, oh, my neck, my upper traps, my shoulders are all ruined and everything. It's like, because you've crammed in what you should have done beforehand. So there's no point in cramming, because and I 100% believe in this, that you are not fitter than your injury. You can't outwork the injury. And some people are like, oh, just take some Nurofen and blah, 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 and harden up. Well, yeah, you could, but also, like, your body's still going to be in a little bit of a defense mode from it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that KPow can beat me in anything right now because of his knee.
I don't know. My
I'll
bench press has been pretty fucking good.
Not if we use the Sinclair method.
Yeah, true. My body weight's a bit higher as well.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah,
when you're doing that. I do think that that's very relevant as well, though. Like, if the comp's not a big one to you, it could be big to someone else, so don't take that away from them. It's just that if it's not as relevant to you, then I guess your focus on it might be a little bit different. Yeah. And also the level that you're at. So before this, I was saying, like, for me, I wasn't sure if I was even going to qualify. And then we've got someone, like, Pete Ellis so far is winning. And I think all of, like, I think at least the top 10 have had all their videos reviewed now, or very close to having it. So he's looking like he'll stay on the top of it. He probably could have trained through it. Yeah. I think he repeated some workouts.
Yeah, right. I'm all for it.
No. Ego. But he could repeat, he could train through it, and he still would have qualified. He may not have won it, and he did, and that's epic, but his confidence or the way he attacked the week of this qualifiers would have been a lot different to the way that I did.
Yeah. So, like, in more context, if you were to take Jay Crouch or Ricky Garrard or, like, the top level guys, they're going to be able to train continuous. I would assume that they're still going to deload to some extent. So they're not doing their normal volume of training and they're not doing their normal strength routines throughout it, but they're still able to do a decent amount of volume, more than what we could, and be able to recover from it and still, because at the end of the day, there's just a qualifying spot. Like, you don't have to win the qualifiers because it doesn't matter when you get to the in-person competition. It's about qualifying. Obviously, you want a little bit higher up on the leaderboard so it keeps momentum and confidence going, but for the guys that are at that high level, they don't need to deload quite as much, and vice versa. The guys that are sitting on the borderline, sitting in that, like, typically sitting at that right on the edge of qualifying, in that 30th, 35th spot, and that 20th, like, it's not a sure thing, then you're going to have to put a little bit more emphasis into how you prepare for that weekend as well. So, yeah. That deload, for me, like, the first time I ever deloaded for 10 days, I thought, this is stupid. This is way too much. Like, 10 days? Are you serious? I normally deload from a Tuesday. Like, train like normal Monday, deload Tuesday.
And the comp starts on Wednesday?
No, and the comp's on Friday. Normally, like with the Open, comp's on Friday, starts on Friday. I would train like normal Monday, deload Tuesday, like full rest day Wednesday, move on Thursday, and then hit the Friday. And so when the first time I was told, no, we're doing a 10-day, and this is with Carter. So the first time I ever did it was working with Carter from the Game Plan.
Oh, really? You were with Carter?
Oh, we were working together. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, for a little while. The first time I went to, well, not the first time. When I went to touring in 2022.
I had no idea, and if I did...
Yeah, I told you. Anyway, we're getting off topic. So I did a 10-day deload, and that was, Carter was like, you're doing it. 10-day deload. Trust me. And I was like, okay, trust it. And I think that was actually for quarterfinals, sorry. That was quarterfinals leading into it, because that's the mentality that I had. I was like, well, I'm not a sure thing. I'm not going to qualify. Like, it's not a sure thing, so I need to be a quarterfinals athlete, and I need to be peaking for quarterfinals. So 10-day deload, and by days 6 and 7, I'm just like, I'm not doing anything. Like, I feel like I've got so much pent up energy because I'm not training at the moment. Like, oh my, just let me go. But it was the best thing, because come Friday, game day, you're just ready to go, and everything's feeling like recovered and everything's moving well, and I can't rate it highly enough.
Yeah, it's actually so Carter has this like table with pretty much all the research papers that he's done that he's read and studied. Yeah, and he has them succinct into like a table, and it talks about if you're a double day trainer or if you're a single day trainer, like for your training days, when you should taper. And I remember he sent that through to me. And I still live by that. I think it's super important. Some people don't need to taper as well. Again, this is the level that you're at. However, if the competition's super duper important to you, super duper. So lame. Yeah. Anyways, if it's super duper important to you, you'll follow that table to the T. And if not, then you might like not taper as much, or you might just have a bit more fun with it, and that's fine. Just don't be a jerk to someone that is taking it more serious, or don't be a jerk to someone that's not taking it as serious. Yeah. As you. Yeah? Did I say that right?
I think so.
We'll go with that.
But yeah. All right. So moving past the deload, we've deloaded and we're prepped and we're ready. Monday rolls around.
Cool. So Monday, woke up, normal, coach the morning classes, and then it was actually quite nice. Usually I'll coach, and then as soon as they're done, I'll get stuck into training, and then go home, come back, train. Whereas I just got to go home, spend some time with the boys before they went to school. And I kind of did everything I could to be mentally switched off when I wasn't in the gym.
Yeah.
And we spoke about this, and we'll speak about this more, especially when it comes to the Friday before the scores were released.
Yeah.
And I just did that for myself because I knew that stressing about it wasn't going to fix anything, because I wasn't in the gym doing something about it. So it was outside of my control. And while that's very stoic, it actually helped a lot. So, Monday, came home, had breakfast, did everything normal, lined up to do the sessions, one of the workouts with Courtney, and then Hannah was going to be there. And, went in, did it, had fun. Yeah.
Was the approach on particular workouts, because obviously some workouts are going to be better, some workouts are going to create different stimuluses and like create more soreness post-workout? Was there a strategy on which workouts you did in which order?
Yep.
For the week?
So we decided that we'd do event 2. So that was 3 rounds, 30 shuttle runs, and 15 strict handstand push-ups into 3 rounds of a 28 cal row and a 30 meter handstand walk.
Yep.
We thought we'd start off with that because it's not a lot of, like, people are like, oh, it's a lot of handstand push-ups and shoulder fatigue. But if you have any desire to be at the like elite level, looking at those numbers, 60 strict handstand push-ups and
45.
40, it's even less than 45, and then 90 meters of handstand walking. It's not they're not big numbers for a workout.
It's the intensity that's going to catch you more than the volume.
Yep. And so, we decided to do that one first. For me as well, I think that was actually my best finish of the week as well. So I was actually pretty surprised about that, which is really cool. The handstand walk and row side of things was good, but the strict handstand push-ups have notoriously stopped me in my tracks or slowed me right down.
Preaching to the choir there, brother. They are my arch nemesis.
Yeah. They were.
They have been.
Yeah. Do you know I have a friend, and I just found out that...
Really?
Yeah, I know. Just one. And her unbroken strict handstand push-up PB, unbroken, is 76.
What the actual...
76.
Oh, my God.
Imagine doing that. Be like, hey, do you want to do a race? And she's like, I'm going to win, but yeah, let's do it. And then you just watch her crank out 76.
76. That is nuts.
Wild.
Does she have like tiny arms? So it's like...
She's not the biggest human, but she's not built like a midget. Like, she doesn't have weird proportions.
That is impressive.
It's just insane, man. Yeah.
I wish I could do 76.
I wish I could do 7.6.
I wouldn't have any issues with any of my competitions if I could do 76. Just don't make me face the wall.
Yeah. Oh, no, you'd probably even better facing the wall or something like that. So even crazier.
That is insane.
Yeah, man.
So, that was your first workout. What was your...
Yep.
So, what were the other workouts? So we can just have a bit of an idea of what the week was going to look like.
Cool. So... the first workout that was announced that I did second was a 9-minute, we'll call it an AMRAP, broken up into certain sections. So the first 2 minutes you were doing as many clean and jerks as you could at 100. And then the third minute you would do as many bar muscle ups as you can. Then the next 2 minutes will be as many clean and jerks as you can at 90. Then the next minute, max bar muscle ups. And then next 2 minutes, max clean and jerks at 80 kilos. And then the last minute, the 9th minute, will be max bar muscle ups.
Again, yep.
Yep. And now that sounds fun.
On paper, it looked fun.
That was brutal.
So you did it properly.
Oh, man, I had no idea. And I thought I started out conservative, which I believe everyone did or needed to anyway, so that doesn't matter. But that was just wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really much to hide from in that workout.
No, but I thought because it was not a heavy barbell at the end, but even at the start, it wasn't a barbell you could cycle at the start of a 9-minute AMRAP fast. So you're going to have to cycle it smoothly. I thought it was going to be fine.
Yeah. 2 minutes is a long time to be spending on one barbell though. Like on paper, 2 minutes doesn't look like much, but when you're 30 seconds in and you've got another 90 seconds to go, and you're like, whoa, oh, yeah, that's fucked up. So that was one of the other workouts.
Yep.
And then the other two.
Third workout, I did third. That was the one that I looked forward to the most, just because it looked fun. So that was 25 hang snatches at 45 kilos, 25 burpee box jump overs, 50 toes to bar, and then do it backwards. So 25 burpee box jump overs, 25 power snatches.
Nice.
And then the last one, which was the one that I think everyone was having anxiety attacks over, now that I've been speaking to people, was 21, 15, 9, 6, 3 reps of deadlifts at 100 and dumbbell thrusters 22.5 each hand.
Sheesh.
Yep.
There were some blistering scores on that as
That
well.
was insane. You know what? I'm going to give him a shout out because I've already messaged him about this. Dylan Chow. What?
Wow.
Like 3 minutes 30, was it? Hang on.
Yeah,
I've still got it up because I
3:29.
wanted to talk about this. Pardon?
3:29.
Was it?
That's what he put in, yeah.
That's
nuts.
That is wild. Absolutely wild. You know what's... Yeah, wow. Shout out to
impressive.
him.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? And...
So I looked at the
not to
leaderboard
be
like...
mean, but he didn't even win it, and he got 3 minutes 29. He came third.
What were the other scores?
Kendall Peterson, he went to the games on the 6'4" team this year, 3:15.
Yep.
And
He's
then
been around for a while as well. So...
Has he?
Kendall, yeah.
Oh, nice dude.
Yeah.
Nice guy. Yeah, so that was the last one. And we did that one last because we thought it would come up with the most DOMs, and we were 100% correct, which we've already spoken about.
Yeah, we have. Because that's a big thing, the way that I look at any comp, because typically speaking, you're going to get all of your workouts released in one go, and then it's either you have to format them a certain way depending on the comp, or you just free range do them in whatever order you want. So that's the second. So the biggest aspect that I look at is the deload and preparation for the comp, and then when you get to the weekend or the actual competition, is strategizing the workouts that have been released. So it's which workout is going to be your weakest workout or the worst event for you for the weekend, and then pretty much figuring out, like we talked about before, what's going to have the biggest effect on your DOMs, what's going to be your biggest confidence booster, what's the what actual ramifications are the workouts going to have on you, and then program them essentially accordingly to that. So whatever's going to give you the best score by the end of the weekend. So just trying to figure that out before you start.
Yeah. Now, some people actually, and we did this at quarterfinals the year that you and I tried to do them together, and then I basically just watched you. You did the burpee box jump over snatch one. Was that it?
Yeah, row, burpee box, and then snatch.
Yeah, you did that one not first, but you did it fairly early on. Yeah. With the intention that you might need to repeat that one.
Yep. And then I did repeat that one.
And it was needed.
Yes. And that was literally the reason that I qualified. If I didn't redo that, I think it was only something, it was like 12 seconds or 9 seconds. It wasn't a massive improvement, but if I didn't get that improvement, I would have been 4 places out of qualifying.
Yeah. Crazy.
So, yeah. Nuts. So it pays to redo sometimes. I even looked through, I'm going to say his name wrong, Luc de Jong.
I think it's De Jong.
He repeated a few workouts over the weekend as well. But he beat one of them by like a minute something.
Yeah, that was the handstand one, I think.
Yeah. So it's like, it doesn't matter what level you're at, because he is a good athlete. Like, he's been around for a while. It doesn't matter what level you're at. Redoing some of your workouts will definitely pay off.
Yep.
I've been redoing them since ROM days back in 2017. And I'm sold.
I have the complete opposite. I'm like, do them, forget about them, don't come back.
No, I'm like, do it, and because you can understand the feeling of the workout a bit more, and then you can, if you went too hard at the start of a workout, you can adjust that if you do a redo.
Again, this this is actually great on what we were talking about earlier, is your tapering will depend on the importance and your level, and repeating will also depend on the importance and your level. So I know some guys that will for sure qualify, like when you're talking about like qualifying for the pro, and I'm assuming this is why Luke repeated his, is they'll only repeat because it's not that they want to just qualify, they want to qualify into the last heat, because that's a huge game changer as well. And so you have that level where you're like, okay, I know I'm going to qualify, but getting into the last heat will change everything, because really, if you're in the last heat's like a bubble. Yeah. And if you're in it, you rarely leave it.
The last heat, for those of you who don't know, is the top heat, the best heat. So if you've got a field of 40 athletes or 30 athletes like we do at Torian, the bottom 8 go first. So whoever's in 32nd up to 26th, because it's 6 and then 8, they will go first, and then so it works its way reverse up the leaderboard. So being in the top heat is the last heat. So the last guys, the best guys, go last.
Yeah, maybe.
So you always want to be in the top heat. Yeah, top heat or the last heat.
I remember Ben Smith talking about that actually, and he was saying that if you want a shot at the games, you've got to qualify into the last heat, because that's basically the main opportunity you have. But then, what's his name? James Newbury came out and barely qualified for regionals one year and then won it. So, just I guess it depends on how prepared you are as well. So that repeat will then be relevant to what you needed. I just didn't want to repeat because I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to give my all. I actually think I got quite lucky in the fact that especially the first 3 events, I executed to what I feel really well. And it was actually, it was just in a good headspace for him. That's all.
Yeah.
And so
you don't like repeating anyway.
I'm not a big fan of it. I will repeat if I have to, and I'm not worried about repeating if I have to. But if it's just to stroke my ego, I won't do it. I don't care that much as long as I qualify.
See, I've always been
next
about
year. Who knows?
Just I need to qualify, so I'm going to redo it, because if I get 6 reps better, then I'm in a better position. So I'll take anything, but I'm not on the same caliber as old Jono over here.
Doubt it. Mate, we had no idea where I was going to end up until Friday.
I had no idea.
No,
I
you
knew.
didn't.
I had faith. I did.
No,
it was a shoe-in.
Yeah, doubt it. Shoey, yes.
yeah. When you end of the weekend, I want to see it. Shoey.
Done.
You all heard it here first. We've got witnesses.
No, I'm moving on. So they were the workouts, and then so throughout the week, just as a broad stroke, I just decided to do 1 a day. I would use my spare time to switch off. So I'd practice golfing. I played with the boys. Rode the bike. Did just family stuff and everything where I get enjoyment out, and I have no regard for competition within it. So when I'm working, whether it's with the potty, with the gym, with some other the tech software and stuff like that, I'm always okay, I got to do this. So I just decided to do stuff that was on the upward spiral of switching off.
Yeah.
To help me. So when I was switched on, that was all my energy was going to that.
Yeah. Yeah, which we've talked about before. The benefits that you get from that, from actively switching off. Yeah, you when it comes time to switch back on and go, it makes such a big difference. So the importance of having that off switches, especially in competition, definitely beneficial.
Hugely. Did you want to cover anything more specific, like how I approach the workouts or anything, or?
I don't think we really want to go into the specifics. We'll keep it nice and general so that way it's for any sort of online competition, unless you wanted to talk specifically about some of them.
Nah, I'm okay with that. I just think something as well that would be more helpful though is warm up for the event. So I don't necessarily warm up a lot in my training. I do my mobility. I practice the work, I practice the movements just to make sure I'm not going to do a muscle up and pull a bicep. And then I warm up to the weight that I'll be using. So if it's a 60 kilo power clean, I'll do empty barbell, go straight to 60 kilos do a few reps, and I'm like, yep, we're good to go. Let's do it. Yeah. However, in competition, I'm like, everything is dialed in much more. And I know I probably should get better in the warming up of the training side of things.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling niggly, I will. But in general, I'll be like, cool. If I'm not having a squat below parallel, like if it's power cleans, then I'm just doing quick hip flexor stretch, quick hamstring stretch, front rack stretch, and I'm on.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like with a comp, you want the confidence that everything's moving well and everything's feeling smooth and flowy, and whereas like, I mean, you should have the same sort of concepts in training as well, but it's not as important if you're 10 seconds slower in a workout in training compared to competition day. So we're not saying don't warm up. We are not saying that. You still warm up in your training, but you want to take it that little step further when it comes to competition as well. It really comes down to the preparation side of everything. So, and it's not like the last minute preparation. Like the last minute preparation is very important as well, but if you haven't prepared well for the 6 months leading into a competition, you can't expect to magically get it the day of competition. So that's where, like, if you've got everything dialed in, like you talked to before, like you've got your nutrition dialed in, you've got your sleep dialed in, you've got everything's dialed in, then on competition day there's nothing to really adjust and fix. You've just got to make sure you're moving well, make sure you're nice and warmed up, everything's primed, everything's ready, feeling confident. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Execute.
Yeah, and I think if you have that beforehand, it's good. Like, I know for me, handstand push-ups, people are scared of like wasting their handstand push-ups, where it takes me a good like 10 to 15 to 20 reps within a workout, if it's strict, to really feel like, I've got the movement dialed in, like I'm warmed up. So I'll almost not over-warm them up, but to some people, they might think I'm over-warming up for that. And that's just what that is. Burpee box jump overs, the bounce on the box, we catch it quite low, and you get some people that catch it quite high. And technically, if you jump and your hips are above parallel when you land on the box, you're having to jump higher than, say, me, where I literally, like, my ass almost touches the box sometimes. Yeah, and so those little things, I'll make sure are completely dialed in. Whereas in training, I'll be like 10 to 15 reps or 5 to 10 reps in, I'll be good. So I'll just deal with that uncomfort then. Whereas I want the least amount of uncomfort that I can have from the get-go. Yeah. You want it feeling good from rep 1. Yeah. So the only pain that I'm feeling is the pain I'm putting on myself. The emotional damage. Yeah, because that's all on you.
That's one thing that we didn't discuss was like, what's the mental game, especially towards the end of the week. This one was a weird one where they don't release the leaderboard until Friday. Boom, all workouts got released. All of the scores got released in one go. Whereas typically you see a couple workouts, or someone will update their score, or someone will, like, so you can see little like bits and pieces getting added to the leaderboard, or it like gets updated and then you've got today's, but then you're doing the next day's workout. So like you've got some idea of where you are and what you need to do, and that can massively play on your mental side of things. So how did you feel Friday waiting for the leaderboard?
So I have two approaches to this, just so we've got this clear. I have I do believe that you should only focus on yourself and not worry about other scores. However, I also believe a leaderboard or knowing other people's scores or sharing scores with one another is hugely beneficial as well. And I think it comes down to workout. So if we looked at the handstand walk as a high-skilled movement, or the 100 kilo clean and jerk as a heavy movement, if you can't clean and jerk that as well as someone else, the only thing you can do is focus on what you can do. Yeah. That's all you can do. 100%. However, if you can't handstand walk as well as someone else, you can just focus on you. However, in the workout that was the deadlifts and thruster one, they're basic movements. 100 kilo deadlift isn't a heavy deadlift, and 22.5 kilo dumbbell thrusters. That's not a heavy thruster either. No. The numbers of the weight, the numbers of the reps was decent enough, but it was a pain cave workout. So if I had spoken to someone who I respect and they were like, I got 6 minutes, I probably would have gauged it at 6 minutes. Yeah. or if I'd gone as hard as I could, sorry, doing little, what are these parentheses?
Quotations.
Air quotes. And then I look back and I'm like, oh man, that person beat me by 30 seconds. I could probably go faster if I just hurt more. That's when it's beneficial. So looking at the leaderboard, I liked that it was frozen, but at the same time, some people get discouraged by it, and then you just need to learn how you can motivate yourself from it. Friday, it was nice seeing all the blurred ones because it forced you to only have to focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Which also sucks because you're only focused on yourself.
Yeah, it's a catch-22.
I was pretty lucky to have some friends that have qualified, and so we just shared our scores with each other to kind of help each other know where we were and if it was enough and stuff like that. So that was nice, but then you still don't know how everyone else has improved.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that qualified for the pro, especially in the men's division, that didn't qualify for this.
Yeah, right.
I was like, wow. I'm not going to drop names because I don't mean to be mean, but you would expect them to, and there's all these other people that have jumped above them.
But also, you don't know where they are in their season as well, because some people take an off season and they're just doing this for we'll see where I'm sitting. So you don't know how seriously some people are taking it either. So you got to take it with a grain of salt.
No, and that's fair. I get that as well. There's some people that are really good and they didn't qualify, but they're probably like, I'm going to be really good for 2024.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
So I remember messaging you. You're like,
yeah,
because I don't like things out of my control, and just freaking out. And then you're like, man, we should do a podcast on this.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah. But it was fun to have that roller coaster, because I really do enjoy that part of the competition, and I'm sure you do as well. I
hate it at the time
and everything. Yeah, but it's also fun. Yeah, when you look back at it, you're like, man, that was a fun time. Very, very fun time. So we kind of wanted to do this episode also to let other people know that it's stressful.
Yeah,
it's very stressful, and it's okay to be stressful.
Yeah. Everybody goes through the same sort of feelings. Everybody's anxious and nervous and, did I do enough? Is that good enough? Yeah. So, I look at the leaderboards in two contexts as well. So, it's similar like what you were saying. So, I look at it as, well, it's out of your control how well other people do or how other people place in a workout. But then, at the same time, it's a competition. You're there to try and beat the people that you're competing against. So where possible, CrossFit's such a weird sport in the sense that if I can't handstand walk as well as you can handstand walk, for example, it's hard to put that sort of onus on me. Jono's a better handstand walker, so I can't compare his score to mine. But then if I look at that in the off season, I'm like, well, that's a massive gap that I need to improve on, because he can handstand walk 5 times faster than what I can. I need that. That's a hole that I need to fix in my game. So then you are using other people's scores and other people's weights and what they're doing to kind of lead where you should be working on in your training. But when it comes to the competition, if you physically can't execute, then it's a different ball game. If you can't lift a barbell, then that's out of your control to some extent. So it's a mix between the two. You're looking at the leaderboard being I have to beat this person, and I have to get this score, and I have to do X, Y, Z. But then at the same time, it's you're only capable of what you're capable of. So that's where the emotions. What do I do?
Well, what you can do is what you should have done 6 months ago. So.
Yeah, that's it.
There's actually Jocko Willink I think I brought his book up before he talks about extreme ownership, and he talks about the uncontrollables are still you need to own that, and so and it's actually what you said just made so much sense. I was like, wow, what is not within your control in the moment can be something that you can take control of. Either you should have already or you can afterwards.
For next time.
So even going to your qualifier with the strict wall-facing handstand push-ups, in that moment of the quarterfinals, you couldn't do anything about it. It was out of your control. You were doing what you could with what you had. However, afterwards you took ownership of that. You took control of that, and you worked on that. Yeah. And I'm assuming you're still probably working on that because you can't do anything else with the lower body. But
I can't really do the wall facing with my leg at the moment. It's so awkward. I can do normal strict handstand push-ups. I can kick up against the wall, so I'm still working on it, but not the wall facing specifically. So hopefully they haven't fallen to the wayside too much.
I doubt it, considering how much upper body you've been doing.
It's all I've been doing. Yeah, it's all I can do. But yeah. All right. I think we've covered enough in today's episode. That was a good little talk about competitions, prepping for a comp. Kept it vague enough so that way you can apply it to all different sort of online competitions. And yeah, hopefully this helps with your next online competition that's coming up. Hopefully.
Yeah.
As always,
whichever one that might be.
Give us a like down below if you're on YouTube. I'm not sure what Spotify has, but yeah, if there's a like button, hit it on Spotify.
Follow us on Spotify.
Follow us on Spotify. Hit us up if you've got any questions as well on Spotify, YouTube, or on our Instagram page. As always, it was a pleasure. We'll see you next time.